Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思诗都很难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, and today joining me is a new friend who is making me very excited about recording, Mr. Jason. Hi, Jason Smith. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, Niu. I'm happy to be here.
Very happy to have you here. So it's your first time on Takeaway Chinese, and you're a very busy person. You have a lot of awesome shows. I think our friends on Takeaway Chinese deserve to know your other shows. So talk to us a little bit about what you do when you're not doing Takeaway Chinese.
Well, one of the main things I do is called the Bridge Podcast, where we share stories from Chinese folks and American folks and folks around the world to help build cultural bridges between people.
That is a really cool show, guys. You should totally listen to it. And you learn the Chinese language here on Takeaway Chinese. And you learn more about how Chinese people think. What's the difference in people's way of thinking between people from a Chinese background, from Western background. It'd be really cool to listen to The Bridge. Just, search for The Bridge. And welcome, Jason.
Thank you.
And for our dear listeners, actually today we're talking about something that is still in line with our theme of studying here in China. If you're an exchange student or if you're just an expat living in China. And I was wondering, Jason, have you had the experience of living in a different country studying?
Studying, not so much. I mean, I independently studied while I was in South Korea and in China, but it's mostly been working abroad.
Of course, but I know you are a really hard worker. You work so hard, yet you must still have a lot of free time. What do you do in your free time when you're, in a complete different country?
Well, I actually like to study. So you're asking me, do you study abroad? I spend most of my time either working when I'm not working or studying. So I spend a lot of time writing books or reading books.
Wow, that is not the answer I was expecting, because I had the experience of living abroad, and I feel like one of the advantages of studying abroad is that you get to travel a lot.
I do travel, but I'm so busy working, making wonderful content for my listeners and for the people on my social media that I honestly feel like my travel's more work than joy.
But that is certainly one aspect, and I would definitely be the one who spend a lot of my leisure time playing, and I think we can be really two great parts in today's conversation, because I feel like the conversation is between a studyholic, workaholic, and someone who, enjoy life in a much easier way. All right, so for our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. 下课一起去打篮球吧。
下次吧，我最近特别忙，我得去图书馆写论文。
天哪，离截止日期还有2个月呢，学霸别卷了。
我要争取拿奖学金，得考个好成绩。
好吧，但你记得要劳逸结合啊。下课一起去打篮球吧。
下次吧，我最近特别忙，我得去图书馆写论文。
天哪，离截止日期还有2个月呢，学霸别卷了。
我要争取拿奖学金，得考个好成绩。
好吧，但你记得要劳逸结合啊。 And that's the dialogue. See, I would be the one who's asking you to play basketball, and you would be the one who's studying all the time.
Pretty accurate.
All right, so for the first sentence, 下课一起去打篮球吧。
下课一起去打篮球吧. Let's go play basketball together after class.
That's the sentence. I think this is relatively straightforward. So 下课
下课 after class.
After class. 下 is down or below or under.
Or after.
Or after, because we have 下课, 课 we know is course or classes, so 下课 is after class. It can also be used in the word 下班.
Finish work.
After work, 下班. And 要上课了, it's time for the class. So the class is about to start, and 上班 is go to classes. And I feel like the word 上 and 下 in the Chinese context carry a lot of these starting and finishing meaning. So if you come across
And up
it,
and down.
Yes.
Elevators.
Yeah,
Stairs.
上, of course. 上 and 下, that's how you use it. 一起
一起 together.
Together. We often say sentences like 一起去吃饭吧.
Do you want to go eat together?
一起去吃饭. Perfect. And 一起 is very often used. And we also say 一块儿.
一块儿
Also means together.
I don't know 一块儿. That's new to me.
You can kind of like understand it as you gather a bunch of people and put them together. And when you put them together, let them do something together. They're, doing things together.
一块儿朋友们?
朋友们一块儿走.
Oh, okay.
Let's
it's like
do something together. You have to have a verb in the sentence. 去.
To go.
Can you think of a word or a sentence using 去?
我们去吧.
我们去吧. Let's go. Perfect.
Let's
打篮球.
打篮球 basketball.
Hit basketball.
Oh, we hit basketball. Oh,
Because
to play basketball.
To play basketball.
Right.
That's the thing about the word 打 in itself. It means to hit. 不要打人. Don't hit people. 不可以打孩子. Don't hit
this
your
is
children.
that 打.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
好人不打人.
好人不打人. Good people don't hit people. I like that sentence. It's so weird, but it's a good
My wife says that, yeah.
That's a good sentence. Anyway, so the very original meaning of 打, of the character of the word, is to hit people or to just hit, not hit people. But you can use 打 in 打电话.
To make a phone call.
Make a phone call. And also, for example, 打酱油.
打酱油, I don't know what that means.
That is an outdated word because that word means you bring a bottle of your own, go to a shop and get some soybean. Someone would use, I don't know, a bowl or other container to get the soybean from their really large barrel.
Right. They still have that at the grocery store today.
You can do that, but
Yeah.
most people stop doing that.
Hey, every that's the best way to save money. You put it out. You can do that in a U.S. supermarket as well, where you take your own unit and then you save money instead of pre-packaged and all fancy with a brand name.
Yeah, totally. And that word, instead of saying 买酱油, because if you're buying a soybean, you're thinking about getting a bottle from the supermarket. But if you're 打酱油 or 打醋, getting a vinegar, you're using your own unit, like you described.
You can get your own vinegar. That's new to me.
So that's another way of using the character or the word 打. So 打 can be used in a lot of different ways. And here, 打篮球, play basketball. The only thing I think that is worth noting is we say 打篮球, but we do not say 打足球.
Really?
When it's play football, you say 踢足球.
踢足球.
You have to kick the football because
Right.
if you use your hand, you'd be getting a red or yellow card and no.
So da here in this instance, using 篮球, pertains to hands.
Yes, it has something to do with hands. So you can also say 打羽毛球, play badminton. 打乒乓球, play ping pong ball. So that's basically the idea. 下次吧，我最近特别忙。
下次吧，我最近特别忙. So maybe next time. I've been really busy lately.
下次
下次 next time.
next time, and that's again we see 下 carries the meaning of in the future, next. Because if you want to say a previous time, you can say
上
上一次。上次, yes, that's the idea. 下次吧吧 here suggests it's a suggestion. 我
I.
That's I. 最近
最近 recently.
最近 is also very useful because you can say 你最近怎么样?
What have you been doing lately?
How are you lately?
Yeah.
Are you alright? It's really useful if you haven't seen someone for a while. It's in small talks. So 最近特别
特别 especially or really.
Really. Can you think of another Chinese word?
For 特别
Or for
很
or very.
Oh goodness, there's more?
非常
非常 yeah, 非常
or 太
Thai.
Yes. So these
That's
are
like
all
excessively, right?
Yeah, but not always. Because if you say 她太好看了 she's just really beautiful.
I've never heard that.
It's definitely a positive Thai, not excessive, too much kind of Thai. So Thai can be used in two.
It's like a metaphor in that way, isn't it? Because it means Thai means two. So she's too beautiful. Then you're like metaphorically saying that she's just so beautiful.
Yeah, you can imagine it or you can understand it or remember it as that. But I think because people use Thai really a lot in Chinese daily conversations, it stopped being that complicated. It's just a very, very. So Thai. And here this is 特别 very 忙
busy.
Busy you can use. 你最近忙吗？
我最近很忙
See?
特别忙
If you are asking
太
someone
忙
you're using them really well. And I was trying to say if you want to ask someone for a favor, you can always start by saying, are you busy lately? You know, can I borrow you for something? That's a very polite way of starting a conversation.
I have another question about Thai. So
Sure.
if you say, oh, 你最近太忙了吗? If someone says, well, 太忙, are they just saying they're very busy or are they really just too busy? Then when does Thai mean too and when does it mean very?
That's the thing. You have to always read
The
between
context.
between the lines. And it's much better if you're having a face-to-face conversation because if it's on social media, if you're talking to someone via WeChat, you can never tell. That's the thing. So the tone is also very important. And then for the next sentence, 我得去图书馆写论文。
我得去图书馆写论文 I have to go to the library to work on my paper.
我
I
得
they must or have.
Yes, this is actually very useful, but it's a relatively oral way of saying it. It's not that formal. A formal way would be 必须。
必须
我必须 in itself would be translated to
需要
需要 have to 必须 must do something.
And then day is also must.
Day is
Like a synonym.
yeah. Day is definitely in oral conversations. 去 again
To go.
to go 图书馆
图书馆 library.
library. So 图书 is books. Actually 图 is picture, 书 is book, but put together 图书 together is book. I say a lot in Takeaway Chinese that Chinese people like two-syllable words because we have limited sounds in the Chinese language. And in putting them in two-syllable forms, it's easier for people to understand. So 图书 books. And 馆 is a venue, a place. So we have 图书馆 library. And do you know how to say bookstore?
I do, but can't remember right now.
It's literally a bookstore. 书店.
书店
Yeah, 店 is a store. So 书店
书店
bookstore 图书馆
图书馆
library 写
study or work, right?
write. So 写你最近写了一本书
Yes. Sure. 写了
Yeah, so you recently wrote a book. 写书 write a book.
写书
No, just 写书
写书
write a book.
我写书了
And here this person 写论文
写论文 This is the first time I've heard this word 论文
论 Do you know the word 讨论 or 议论?
No.
Talk about, discuss.
Oh, 聊天
聊天 Yeah, 聊天 is like chat. Happily chatting. But if you are debating something, debating actually is 辩论. So 论 carries the meaning of explain something quite well. So 讨论, some people gather together and talk about this one thing. They're explaining it. And 论文 is 文章, passage or article. So 论文 is a article.
Discussion paper.
Yes, writing about a certain topic, making sure
Does this also mean like
explaining it.
essay?
It means essay. So 论文.
论文
So 写论文 would be working on my paper or just writing my paper.
Is the W W or V here?
It does not matter.
In region, it's going to be a regional thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you are
写论文
asking really good questions because in Chinese we say 网络. We sometimes say 网络. It does not really matter. And that is another obstacle Chinese people meet when they start studying English, because for us, v and wu, it doesn't really matter. But in English, it matters. So, 写论文 or 写论文 both works. 天哪!
天哪! Like, oh my goodness. Oh, actually, that's exactly what you've written in the translate. That's how I would have thought about it too.
Yes, because 天 is sky or heaven.
天哪!
It's like, whoo.
Oh my heavens.
Oh my heavens.
That's something I feel like my grandmother would say. Oh my heavens, or dear heavens. 天哪!
Really? I didn't know that expression. I like it. 天哪, oh my heaven. All right. And then we have something that makes this person said, oh my heaven. 离截止日期还有2个月呢。
离截止日期还有2个月呢。
So 离
I think is that like until or arriving?
It is, yeah, you can translate it as that. But the idea is 离 carries the meaning that you're leaving somewhere. So 离开 is leaving a place.
Right.
So you can imagine time as a line. We call it a timeline. On the timeline, there is a certain point. And when you're leaving that point.
离
Yes.
Leaving. Perfect. Now I'll remember.
When you're leaving that point for a certain period, you can use the word 离. So, 离截止日期. 截止日期 here is the deadline. 截止 is to stop.
截止
日期 is date.
日期
Yes, so it's stop date, deadline. 离 certain thing 有 X amount of time actually means from present to the things that we talked about, there is still X amount of time. For example, 离上次见面。
上次见面。
上次见面 is the last time we see each other.
见面 right.
很久了。
很久了
has been really long. Yeah, it has been really long since we've seen each other for the previous time. And see, that is in the past time. So you're thinking about a time in the past, but it's still on the timeline we described. So you can still use 离. So it does not really matter if it's a past time thing or it's a time in the future. You can always use
离. So the tense
离.
here is unclear.
Yes, it does not matter for the using of this word. So in the example we provided, actually it's 离, something happened in the past. And here in the conversation, it's 离, something will happen in the future. You can use 离 for both situations. And here it's 离截止日期还有 still have.
还有
2个月
2个月 2 months.
2 months. I was wondering, because you have been living in China for quite a long time and you know Chinese pretty well.
I think
from
this
my
is
observation.
Perfect lesson for me. It's exactly where I am in my level.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, do you have any tips to remember whether or not to use a 个 when you're describing a certain period of time?
In my opinion, it takes practice and, you have rote memory. My opinion, based on my own experiences, being in China is extremely helpful. So if you can, just come to China, but because you can learn things in context. But flashcards or just doing it over and over again, repeating, having a teacher, all of those things are extremely helpful. Or a wonderful radio lesson like this one.
Thank you very much. And friends out there, you're listening. I did not lie to you. There's no secret or rule. You have to just remember them because there are certain correlations. 2个星期 2 weeks. 2周 without the 个 2 weeks. 2天 2 days. 2个月 yes with the 个 because it's month. 2年 without the 个. Just remember
You know
them.
what's really easy though, because Chinese people really appreciate when foreigners learn Chinese. So if you just say 个 when you're not sure, people will smile and be okay with that.
Yes,
Yeah.
they will understand as well. So it's fine. And here 2个月 2 months. 学霸别卷了。
学霸别卷了. So, 学霸 means don't study hard? Don't work hard. Really? I'm confused.
别卷了 means don't work hard.
Oh.
学霸. This is
学霸.
relatively a new word. It does not exist.
Study.
学 is
Read.
study.
学霸 doesn't mean study?
Actually, we're thinking about the same pronunciation but a different character.
Oh.
This 霸 means someone who's a bully.
Oh.
But
Study bullying.
actually in forming this word, 学霸 means someone who's really good at studying something. Like
A study bully. They're really good at studying.
in a positive way. I mean, they're good, but they're not really bullying anyone. But, seeing them sparing no effort in doing certain things. They don't need to work as hard as we do, but they got really high score. They did not bully intentionally, but they are study bullies. That's my understanding.
Sure.
But here, 学霸 means someone who's a straight A student.
Overachiever.
Really good. Overachiever. Really good at studying. Again, overachiever carries negative connotations, but 学霸 does not. 学霸 is purely praising.
I think overachiever doesn't necessarily carry a negative connotation.
Oh, good.
It's kind of like an insult compliment. You're kind of like saying, "Ha, you're so cool," but in a haha between friends sort of way.
Yeah, 学霸 is a little bit like that as well. So that's a good translation, 学霸. And 别卷了.
So I don't know Juan. This is new for me.
It is relatively new. Actually, it's a trendy word nowadays. 卷, 内卷 is
success.
内卷 is actually also a word that has been trendy on the internet in this recent couple of years. It means really putting in extra work in certain things. It's like your boss asks you to achieve 80 and you definitely have to go for 120. That is 卷.
And 别 means don't. So this means don't achieve so much. Don't overachieve.
Don't overachieve. Stop studying. Play with me, with my basketball team.
Yeah.
Something like that. 我要争取拿奖学金，得考个好成绩。
我要争取拿奖学金，得考个好成绩。So hard. I want to get a scholarship, so I need to get a good grade.
You say it's hard, but you're doing really well, actually. So 我要I want to.
Yeah, 我要
争取
争取
That's
get?
Strive for.
Strive for. I've never seen this one. This is new to me too. 争取.
Yeah, it's not that common, I feel like, in daily conversations, but it's still a quite common word. 争取, strive for something, try hard to do something. 拿 is to get.
To take or
to
hold.
Take, to grab it.
Yeah.
奖学金.
奖学金. 奖学金 scholarship.
Scholarship. 得. Again, that's the I have to do something. 考个好成绩.
考个好成绩. Well, 考 means to study or like an exam, right?
Yes, to take the exam.
Take the exam.
成绩 is score.
成绩 is score, and 好 means good.
考个好成绩. Get a good grade.
Get a good grade. You know, I'm not going to have to remember 奖学金 because I'm all too old for that to matter.
You can totally have kids and have your kids strive for a scholarship. That's, see?
My kids are going to be mechanic. Much easier.
Right. Okay, let's go for the last sentence. 好吧，但你记得要劳逸结合啊。
好吧。但你记得要劳逸结合啊。All right, but remember to keep a balance between work and rest. Well, how about is very common, so that's just like yeah or cool or yes, okay. 但 means like but.
But you can also say 但是.
Yeah.
Also but 你
you
记得
remember
要
want
or
do
should.
Yeah.
劳逸结合.
Wow, that's new for me. Keep a balance between work and rest. I've never heard this before. 劳逸结, is this a phrase?
It's a Chinese idiom, yes.
Is there a deep, what do these words mean individually?
Actually, this is relatively easy because 劳 means to work, 劳动, labor, 劳动. 逸 actually means rest.
Okay, work rest.
Work rest. 结合,
劳逸结合
means to combine.
To combine rest and work.
Yeah, literally like that. So there are different types of idioms. Some idioms have a background story, which makes it a little bit hard. But this one is like straightforward. If you understand each character, you understand the meaning of it. So 劳逸结合, keep a balance between work and rest. 劳逸结合.
It's good advice too.
Yes, it is. All right, so I think, do you have any other questions?
You know, I think based on my experience of studying, and I think this goes for our listeners as well, we need to take these words and we need to practice them ourselves and before we bring them back to the teacher to practice again.
In that case, do you want to practice the conversation with me one
Sure, I'd
one
love
time?
to.
Yes, let's do it.
So wait, am I the overachiever?
Yes, you are. 下课一起去打篮球吧。
下次吧，我最近特别忙。 我得去图书馆学论文。
天哪，离截止日期还有2个月呢，学霸别卷了。
我要争取拿奖学金，得考个好成绩。
好吧，但你记得要劳逸结合啊。
It's too bad they don't go out and play basketball because they probably need a break.
Yeah, they need a break, and sometimes so do you. Well, you're listening to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Jason here in the studio. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's talk about campus life if you're a foreign student here in China. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Jason here in the studio. So Jason, if you have a chance to talk to your friends living in China, studying China, or talk to, yourself back when you are a student, do you have any advice about campus life?
My goodness, sit in the front. If you're sitting in the front of class, it's really hard not to pay attention because the professor is going to notice that you're not paying attention. So by sitting in the front, you're setting yourself up to have to pay attention.
Didn't see that coming, but that's good advice. And how about, extracurriculum classes or after work activities?
I did all of that. I was a member of clubs. I started a chess club. I did everything. I think it's important for you to network with your friends. A lot of going to university is not just getting A's and doing well. It's about creating a network of people with whom you can confer for the rest of your career and help you get launched into whatever it is that you plan on doing.
I totally agree. And I don't think I have to ask you the question about tang and juan because it's a mentality that is very common here in China. We talk about tang and juan so much. Juan carries the meaning of you try really hard. You see everyone as competitor, not necessarily in a bad way, but more like you like to strive for the best, always for the best. And tang means to lie down. And lying down carries the meaning that I don't really care that much. I will live my own life. I'll, chill and just let it be and I'll be fine. I'll achieve the bare minimum. I don't feel like I should ask you that, but maybe even we have already defined you as a totally 卷王. So Wang is a king, so the king of overachieving, or the king of all the overachievers. I still like to ask you your opinion towards these two mentality or two ways of life.
Well, I think this is more of a question for people in the West. People from America like me are really curious about this because the term in English, laying flat, has become really well known in the West as a Chinese cultural phenomenon. So when you talk about it, my ears perk up and I want to know more because this is a new, fascinating, trendy idea about Chinese culture that is evolving in our cultures, and we want to know, what does this mean?
Actually, the two keywords here would be 内卷 and 躺平, and all the other phrases are, I feel like, developed around these two ideas. So when it comes to 卷, we have 卷 in itself being a word. You can use it as a verb. You can also say 内卷. 内卷 is used to describe the situation. So if you say 我们那儿内卷很严重, so it's in our place or in our company, in my team, everyone's like striving so hard. So 内卷很严重. 严重 is serious. So it's really serious. It's very, very competitive. And you can also say things like 我不想卷了. I don't want to continue to 卷. So I don't want to continue to try that hard. 我要躺平了. And then we move on to the 躺平.
So if you're in the context of a particular business, can you 躺平 at or work, or is this something you have to do from home and not go to a difficult workplace?
Okay, so 躺平, because the word itself means to, like you said, lie down, lie flat. So 躺 is to lie down. And 平 is flat, but you don't really have to lie on the floor in your company. Actually, it's a metaphor. It's about the idea of stop striving too hard. So you can totally, 我最近特别躺平. You can totally say, recently, I am very 躺平. It means that I didn't work so hard. I was like,
I did the minimum.
And some people would also say 躺有躺的价钱, 卷有卷的价钱. It's a fun explanation as well.
Can you explain that?
Yes, we know 躺和卷 already. 价钱 is price
money.
tag. 价钱 is add money. 价钱 is just price. So it's like saying when my leader or when my boss hire me, 躺有躺的价钱. I can just do the bare minimum and get a little bit of salary. Or 卷有卷的价钱. If you want me to do really a lot of work, you should, pay me the money that, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. But if you pay enough, I will work really, really hard. So I think in the end, it's not about whether to 卷 or to 躺, because you can't really 卷 forever or 躺 forever. Everyone has their own life value that they like to achieve, and it's really not fun if you just really don't do anything or pretend to work at work. It's not the mentality of anyone, but people sometimes when they're really stressful, when they're too tired, they will joke about 躺平, and they would use it to, release the pressure. And after you 躺 for several days, you would definitely start 卷 again.
I feel like there are also some jobs you could probably 躺平 because there's structure that way, like front desk receptionist. If you're not a front desk receptionist / secretary, then when no one's showing up, you're just free time.
Yeah, so in life, maybe I think what we should take away here is not only the two words 躺平 and 内卷, but also a very important Chinese idiom that is 劳逸结合.
劳逸结合.
And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niao Honglin with Jason in the studio. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com and go to the column Podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and much more. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. Don't forget to leave your questions, comments, and ratings. Thank you so much for listening. 我们下次再见。